on, Benchwarmers? We have your Week 11 fantasy football must starts, sleepers, busts. Hey, Barfy, how you making out, buddy?
It's good to be back in the shitty state of New Jersey. That's for damn sure.
They should stay down in the Keys.
I wish I stayed down there. Oh God, I wish I was still there.
Oh, they're back in Jersey. It's cold and it's moist and all kinds of shitty things.
Yep. No Moitsubishi eclipses around here.
All right, well, let's get into our must starts for the week. Who do you got for your starting quarterback this week?
All right, so this week, sorry, a little vomit in my mouth. I actually picked a Dallas Cowboys player. So this week I went with Dak Prescott. But you know, he had turnovers, but he also has 24 fantasy points. Take the turnovers with him passing for 265 yards, 3 touchdowns. Prescott has now scored at least 24 fantasy points.
Fanny points.
He has, well, it is Dallas. Hi, I have 24 fanny points. That's insensitive.
That's offensive. That's offensive.
To be fair,
it's a Dallas Cowboys, so I don't care. Come at me, bro. Prescott has scored at least 24 fantasy points in consecutive games. I expect to see him have another quality outing week 11 against Minnesota. Vikings have allowed 3 of the past 4 opposing quarterbacks to score at least 21 fantasy points, and Prescott will hopefully be in that range. He has a top 5 upside and in all leagues, and he's starting to connect on a high level with CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz, and Prescott can run. He's a little banged up. He's got little bolts in it. He's got an erector set in his ankle, but he still has the ability to run.
You better watch your mouth now. Well, I went with Joe Burrow this week. Now, Joe Burrow's been over the last couple of weeks a bit a little meh. He's going against Pittsburgh, 27th ranked against quarterback production. I think this game will be with the poor secondary that Pittsburgh has. I understand that TJ Watt's back, so that puts a little more pressure on Joe Burrow. But I think the skill positions, the Joe Mixons, the T. Higgins, the Tyler Boyds, I think they'll come out and they'll produce against this secondary. I think this game could get out of hand relatively quick. I think we're going to see some Kenny Pick 6 again, and so definitely say if you're looking in a dual quarterback league, you're not quite sure what you're doing with your quarterback. You're kind of like Joe Burrow has been really doing it lately. This is a week that he's going to come back and he's going to actually prove that he should be a auto start for here on out. Is it here on out? Yeah.
You sure about that?
Yeah, but it's going to be kind of rough in the playoffs, but here on out for fantasy season.
Man, you had a hard time even saying that. Like, I'm going to regret this.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at that playoffs. And I'm like, ooh, that's going to be rough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not going to be fun. Yeah.
But this week, definitely, Joe Burrow should be is a must start.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to play Joe Burrow. That'd be great.
Yeah. So you got for running back?
The running back, I have Antonio Gibson. And again, after watching them beat the Eagles, I mean,
that's just stupid.
Did you see that? Did you see the video of that Goddard? That guy. This is what aggravates the shit out of me about referees. And I'm not trying to be a Dallas Cowboy, fan or whatever like that. Where this is the referees. You don't put yourself in the position where you lose a game because of bad referee calls. They just it's simple as that. They played a poor game, but there was a there was a referee like 10 yards away looking at Goddard's face mask going down like this and twist this way, and he didn't throw a flag. I'm sorry. That guy should get
They should get fined.
It should be something should happen to these referees for blatantly miss a call.
And it was obvious. It's obvious. It's not even like, okay, well, his hand was, no, this was, and now he's injured. Goddard's injured.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So why the refs aren't getting called for doing a piss poor job? I'm waiting. I almost think of like The Longest Yard, the Adam Sandler one where he just beams him right in the balls.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for refs to get trucked over with how piss poor the past 3 seasons we've been dealing with this shit.
I was going back part of that. You can't find good refs. Like, you don't have Hockey League back there anymore.
I know, but it's still like these guys. They wanted to become part of the NFL because they were considered part-time employees because they only play, they only work half a year. Now, also remember, these are doctors, lawyers, and like high-positioned people outside of the referee world, and they're making $100,000 throwing a little yellow flag. So the fact that I don't want that to be my doctor. If he's going to miss a blatant face mask, what if he's got his finger up my balloon knot? He going to miss the polyps? That'd be a shitty situation.
Well, who do you have for your running back?
Sorry, I didn't mean to make a stink
Sidetracked.
about it. I didn't mean to make a stink about the whole situation. Just shitty. But I'm going with Antonio Gibson because obviously, well, one, he's a great player. He is actually a great player with a piss poor team. Okay team. But I like Antonio Gibson. You could also use Brian Robinson against the Texans, who allow the most fantasy points to opposing running backs and have surrendered 14 total touchdowns to the position, 13 of them rushing. We just saw Gibson produce high level in Week 10 against the Eagles. Gibson had 14 carries for 44 yards and a touchdown, along with 3 catches for 14 yards on 3 targets. And I would consider him a number 2, your number 2 running back for the week. He is a good back. I see him always in the lines, and give him a shot this week against the Texans.
No, you're right. You're right. I'll actually be talking about Brian Robinson a little bit further down, but anyway, I went with Devin Singletary. With Josh Allen's injury, it looks like Devin Singletary looks like he's going to have what he had last year, where he became a touchdown machine. Last week he had 2 touchdowns. This week he's probably going to have a couple more going against a really poor Cleveland defense. They're 30th against running back production. So with Josh Allen's injury, you're going to have the check downs. You're going to have Josh Allen is not going to be doing those QB sneaks or 5-yard runs in the red zone. It's going to be a Devin Singletary area where they're going to be highly dependent on him to put it in there. So if you have him, this is the shoulder injury or elbow injury to Josh Allen is fantastic news for Singletary owners. So he's going to have a ride. You could ride him to the championship most likely with this.
Well, I mean, shame for Josh Allen. I feel bad for him, but there goes his MVP season. But so it was funny. Speaking of the Buffalo Bills, and they're playing in Detroit because of the massive snowstorm. Detroit made a tweet that literally said, "Emergency contacts are on the fridge. Lock up when you're done. Please don't break any tables." They tweeted this.
That's awesome.
Bravo for being a good sport there, Detroit. So,
all right. Well, who do you got for your wide receiver must start?
I have Jacoby Myers. Myers had one of his best games of the season in Week 8 at the Jets with 9 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown on 13 targets. He should have a chance for another quality outing this week, and he's worth starting in all leagues. Myers heads into Week 11 off of a bye with three touchdowns in his past 5 games. He has 2 games over that span with at least 8 targets, 7 catches, and 3 games with at least 60 receiving yards. Myers has always been a safe his lowest is 10 points a game. He's done that 5 times out of 7. And now that he's scoring touchdowns, he has a top 10 potential in all formats. And the Jets have allowed at least one receiver to score at least 13 points in every game this season.
All right. Yeah.
I mean, it's New England. Let's be real here. It could go either way, but
Yeah, my thing is it's almost that it's weird because it's either Bailey Zapp or it's Mac Jones, and you don't know what quarterback's going to come or which version's going to come up.
Right.
Is going to show up. That's the thing. So
right.
Jacoby Myers, as long as he can get in the end zone, he's very good as far as he gets a lot of targets, gets a lot of yards, so he's good there. So his floor is already relatively high. You throw a touchdown in the mix, and he's producing. So yeah, Jacoby Myers, absolutely, especially against the matchup he has. Why not? Yeah. And I went with I did a layup. I went with CeeDee Lamb because he's playing against Minnesota's defense. They're 30th ranked against wide receiver production, and after the clinic that he put on last week against Green Bay with 15 targets, 11 receptions, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. After a bye week, he's rejuvenated. Dak Prescott seems to have what he needs to get the ball down the field to CD. They're going to force feed him. Michael Gallup hasn't really been the factor that we thought he was going to be. Pollard gets his carries and his receptions out of the backfield. Zeke is not anywhere's right now. Is he starting or is he played? Is he not? We don't know. But yeah, CeeDee Lamb down the field is going to be a more consistent thing going forward, it looks like. He's a guy that I wish I had in my lineup because it looks like he's going to have with the next couple.
Throughout the rest of the season, he should be a stud.
Right. He's got at Minnesota. He's got the Giants. He's got Indy, which is so. But
we'll see how they play this week against Philly.
Yeah, we'll see how that defense does. They got Houston and Jacksonville.
Just give them the freaking championship.
And then they got Philly, which is kind of rough. But if you have them in the championship week, which is week 17, they're going against a poor Tennessee pass defense. So, yeah.
Exactly. This rest of the season, he's got maybe one challenging game ahead of him. Maybe, unless the Eagles collapse, which could happen. Oh no! After the Eagles got the 2 new defensive linemen, which
yeah. We'll talk about that. All right. So who do you got for your flex?
So for my flex, I have Sir Darius Slayton. I feel you could use him. I don't know. Certain leagues you have 3 wide receivers. But for flex position, he is worth all of that. Week 11 against the Lions, who are 10th in fantasy points allowed to opposing receivers, and he just had his best fantasy game of the season in Week 10 against Houston with 18 points. He has now scored at least 11 points in 3 games in a row and 4 of his past 5 outings. He's emerged as number 1 receiver for the Giants, and you fantasy managers out there should be enjoying his recent production. There have been 12 receivers with at least 12 points against Detroit this year, and Slayton will hopefully add his name to the list of people who just, make Detroit their bitch.
Yeah, I agree. He was one of the guys that I toted as a must pick up on the waiver wire show. And he produced last week. He had a really nice week last week. So he's going to continue to have that kind of production, I feel. He is. And I sat there and I said to everybody, I said, I don't know why everyone's riding this Wan'Dale Robinson kid. Like, oh, he's going to be like the big thing for the Giants. And I was like, no, they have a good receiver. They have Slayton. Like, I don't understand why everyone's pumping this freaking 5'8" quick wide receiver. I don't understand. You have a wide receiver to throw to.
What are you going to do with a 5'8" receiver? What are you going to do with him?
I don't
play keep away.
Honestly, he reminds me of Tavon Austin, like fast, little quick twitch guy and everything like that. But he ain't going to do nothing in the NFL because he's too freaking small.
Right, he's good. He's good for those quick short and out call passes. Just get him to the side. Get him to the side. That's it.
Yeah, he'll be a bubble screen guy. He'll have manufactured looks. but he's not going to be a guy that's going to be able to go, take a 5-yard in the slot and say, okay, I'm going to go challenge this linebacker.
Yeah, this guy who could eat me for this guy who could eat me for lunch. Those wide
don't make no sense.
Those defensive ends, they'll just they eat guys like him for breakfast. Literally, their team meal is just a picture of him on a plate.
Every time I watched a fantasy show or whatever, Matthew Berry was talking big about it, I'm like, I don't understand the logic here. Like, all you need to do, you need to know football a little bit. It's logic. It's not that hard. But anyway, I'm getting off topic again. I'm sorry. My flex was Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson Jr. I went Brian Robinson Jr. going against Houston. That's 32nd. Against running back production. The matchup screams, you put him in your flex. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to put Brian Robinson in the flex. After a 26-carry outing last week, though it was very subpar efficiency with 86 yards and a touchdown, he's still going to be the guy that's going to be getting those tough yards to grind it out. Yes, you do have Antonio Gibson on the other side that's going to get the other third down looks and things of that sort. But he's the guy that's going to get the goal line carries. He's going to be the bruiser. He's going to be the guy that's going to get the higher quality carries. And that's all I have to say about that.
Izzy Monahan.
Yes.
The power of Christ compels you. Oh, does it? Does it, Jay?
Oh, good for you.
Good for you.
Oh, good for you.
All right, let's head into our sleepers and redeemers. All right, buddy. Who do you got for your quarterback sleeper redeemer?
Well, you know what? Since I have the soundboard, I have to use it now.
Wake up, sleepyhead!
So I am going with, I like this guy. I've said it before. I've liked this guy. I do like this guy. Danny Dimes. I know you like Danny Dimes too.
Oh, I do.
There have been 5 quarterbacks who have run for at least 20 yards against the Lions this season, and 4 of them would be Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz, Geno Smith, Justin Fields, have scored at least 22 fantasy points. The only quarterback who failed to do this, which breaks my heart even to say this, was Aaron Rodgers in Week 9 when he had 3 interceptions. Jones has rushed for at least 20 yards in 8 of his 9 starts, and he has scored at least 21 fantasy points in 2 of his past 3 games overall. The Lions also allow the most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks for the season, and Jones is worth using as a low-end starter in all leagues. We still have buys going on, which I completely forgot about.
All right. It's time to put the kids away because this is going to get a little dirty.
Oh.
Just everyone calm down.
Oh.
I went with Derek Carr. Yes, the matchup is nasty. It's against Denver. First against against quarterback production. Throw it out the window. You don't want to touch Derek Carr this week. But I say different. I say this could be a sneaky start. So last week with Derek Carr, over the last 2 weeks actually, he's been actually pretty productive against some decent defenses. He's averaged about 250, 2 touchdowns. He's not throwing interceptions, not turning the ball over, which is very important. So the way I'm looking at this is, especially the fact that Denver gave up 250 yards and 2 touchdowns to Tannehill last week, look for that average. I'm circling them numbers. You'll probably see something similar to those stat lines. So if you need a second quarterback in a dual quarterback league, Derek Carr is a solid start this week and is sneaky. I told you so.
Is it?
Is it?
Is it Monahan? Is it?
I think.
I'm
gonna put. I'm gonna put some. I'll put $5 down on that. That Derek Carr will finish with 20 points or more.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you feel that way. I mean, I want to root for Derek Carr. I love Derek Carr. But I don't know. I don't know about that.
You know how I feel about Derek Carr. I'm not a Derek Carr believer in fantasy football world. I'm not one of those guys that like, oh, Derek Carr's on the waiver wire. I'm going to go pick him up. I'm not that guy.
I know. I drafted him as my backup. Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr all season have been screwing the pooch for me, and now he's like, Aaron Derek Carr. And I forgot to put him in last night.
Well, you have Justin Fields now, so I
know. That's what it was. I dropped Derek Carr, and no, I have 3 different leagues. I have Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr in 2 of them, and then
she went all in on 2 leagues with 2 same quarterbacks. That's a mistake.
Look. All right, I'll see your $5. I'll see your $5. Bet, cuz bet.
All right, we're off topic again. Here we go. We're going to go to running back. Who is your sleeper redeemer running back?
So, going with this guy out of San Fran called Elijah Mitchell. Mitchell has returned from his 7-game absence with a knee injury and had a prominent role in tandem with Christian McCaffrey against the Chargers in Week 10, going for 18 carries for 89 yards, along with 1 catch for -1 yard and 2 targets. Shanahan said Mitchell will continue to get work, giving him value as a potential flex this week against the Cardinals, who have allowed 5 touchdowns to opposing running backs in their past 3 games against Minnesota, Seattle, and the Rams.
Shanahan came out and said it's going to be a 50-50 split, most likely. It's going to be, like I said on the waiver wire show, they're going to want to put a claim in for Eli Mitchell because it's going to be like a Mostert, Jeff Wilson kind of situation where Jeff Wilson is the Christian McCaffrey kind of position where he's going to get the 50% of the carries, but he's also going to get passing down duties. So that makes Christian McCaffrey a little bit more, but Eli Mitchell is going to probably get those goal line carries. You know, really, he's still going to get a considerable amount of valuable touches. So, yeah, I like Eli Mitchell. Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
All right, I went with David Montgomery. With the news of Herbert going out on IR, that means all the touches go to David Montgomery. And going against a below average Atlanta defense, the 20th against running back production. So with him getting all the majority of the carries or like that, with Justin Fields running all over the place, trying to keep teams honest, not stacking a box or anything like that. I think David Montgomery could. I understand he's had some poor weeks. He's been kind of like, because once Herbert started getting a good amount of carries, it's been kind of like, but I think this could be sneak him into your flex position, and you'll probably get at least a double-digit day out of him. Throwing a touchdown, it's a solid day.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to pick him too. So, and then you're like, I picked him. I'm like, all right. We have a knack of picking the same players when we do our pre-production, and every time lately it's always been I picked him. Fuck. I picked him. Damn it, why'd you pick him? I was going to pick him. So
he's mine.
Yeah, he's mine. He's my fantasy player. Get your own.
So, who do you got for wide receiver? Choking up, huh?
Well, it's just dirty Jersey air, man. Went from beautiful sunshine and ocean air to
you could smell it on the plane coming in.
Oh, dude! As soon as you got like up to Washington D.C., you could just smell shame and regret coming. But I went with Paris Campbell from Indy. Matt Ryan's return as the starter for the Colts is great for Campbell, who is worth using as a borderline starter in all leagues. I would put him in this Redeemer catalog. And against the Eagles in his past 3 games with Ryan, Campbell has scored at least 18 points in each outing with at least 9 targets, 7 catches, and 57 yards, and he has a touchdown in each game. You can see if you keep that up, but the Colts are likely going to lean on Campbell as the number 2 target behind Michael Pittman, who is also worth starting if you have him, and not trade him like I did. Ryan could be throwing the ball 40-plus times against the Eagles, which should mean plenty of targets for Campbell and Pittman. And we'll see how it looks. And We'll see if Matt Ryan can actually survive the rest of the year.
Yeah. He's been producing. He produces with Matt Ryan. Like he was getting up there with Matt Ryan, looking good, and then Ellinger came in and went, and then Matt Ryan came in last week and went whoop, and so yeah, I definitely say Paris Campbell could be a nice solid start.
So I also want to interject. Speaking of Indy and Matt Saturday, Josh Saturday, whatever his name is,
Saturday,
yeah, Saturday working on a Sunday. And, somebody doing fake bumps of cocaine off of a table from previous podcasts. Not to point anybody out here. But this guy.
If you haven't seen that, all you got to do is watch the intro to last week's Week 10 Fantasy Football show, and you'll see exactly what he's talking about. It was entertaining.
It was great. It was great, except for the fact that Saturday actually got a win on a Sunday.
Yes,
and
he did. I was surprised. It was against a shitty Vegas team, but it was a win.
Yeah, with Derek Carr. All right, who do you got?
No!
oh, shit!
All right, well, I went with Nico Collins. Now, I said a couple weeks ago when he came back from his injury, I was like, you probably want to keep an eye on this guy. Maybe stash him on your bench because Brandon Cooks has mailed it in. So the only guy that's actually putting forth some effort is Nico Collins to be that wide receiver one option in Houston. I know it's not a very good pass offense, but when the guy's getting 10 targets a game, and he's obviously a red zone target now, he's a guy that you could probably slide in your flex position going against a terrible Washington defense, 25th against wide receiver production. I'd feel very comfortable in having him in a flex position and knowing that I probably get double-digit results out of him. Probably from here on out, like he's got a pretty damn good schedule, like really good schedule for Washington. He's got Miami. He's got a not-so-good pass defense. Cleveland, Dallas. Then you got KC. It's terrible. You got Tennessee that's got a terrible secondary. You got Jacksonville that's got a terrible secondary. That's your champion. That's your playoffs and your championship game right there. So if you're looking to make that run, you're putting freaking Nico Collins on your bench and you're starting him this week, though. Just for the simple fact of it's a matchup, and you're going to put that matchup to test. And Nico Collins is going to produce for you.
Yeah, definitely. I again another one I tried to use for this show, and someone else already had him picked.
I was waiting for you, man. I waited. Usually 6:30, you give me your players, and I start making the steals and shit. And it's like, wait, and then it was like 9:30. I'm like, you know what? These are my players. Who do you got?
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Yeah, I got between work, coming back from vacation, and then some sick family members. I completely forgot. And he's like, players, bud. I'm like, and we're getting ready for shot collar roulette tomorrow. So my brain was not focused.
It's not a big deal. But anyway, so let's head to our Busts of the Week.
Here we go. So
who do you got for your Busts of the Week?
I went with Marcus Mariota. I mean,
kind of like without saying.
That's without saying. He could deliver a possible good line against the Bears. He has scored at least 21 fantasy points in 3 of his past 5 games, and Chicago has allowed at least 29 points to opposing quarterbacks.
I didn't know that. That's actually not bad.
It is not bad. My concern with Mariota and the Falcons, who need a win this week, is their formula to success is going to be to run. That's all they're going to do is they're just going to run it down their throats, and Arthur Smith doesn't want Mariota to make plays unless needed. And sorry, work call. And Atlanta should have a chance to play with a lead this week, but he's only averaging for the season. Mariota's only averaging 17.1 fantasy points. He'll probably be in that range again this week, and so pretty much if you can get someone better, get someone better. Get Tyler Heineke. Get Heineken in there. Take him.
Sure, why not?
Fuck it. What are you gonna do? Lose?
Oh no!
Either way, you're gonna lose. Oh no! Oh my god! So that's why I have to say,
I'm about to bust.
Ooh. All right, so I'm going to stick with my trend of picking top 5, top 10 players.
Oh,
and
my
nail
God.
it. And nail it. I'm hitting it. I nailed it last week. I nailed it the week before. Exactly what I said last week. I forget who I named off the top of my head. I forget. I said that he was
I killed
only gonna
Jared Judy.
Huh?
I
You
killed
killed
Jerry
Jerry. Yeah, you killed Jerry Judy. But I forget who I nailed last week. I said that he was going to probably only get about 10 to 12 points, and it's exactly what he got. So I forget who off the top of my head. I honestly forget who I said was going to do that. I forget. But anyway, I went with Jonathan Taylor going against Phillies defense. They're 18th against running back production. The way I feel about this is Matt Ryan's going to have to pass the ball a lot. And I believe that I understand that the Phillies' run defense is absolutely god-awful without Jordan Davis. But with these two new signings they made, these two big boys are playing in the middle, and they're
I'm
going to
so
say,
glad.
all right, try to run on us now. I think this is going to solve that running issue. You have two, I understand they're a little long in the tooth, but they're two big bodies that are going to take double blockers. They're going to have to get double teamed each time they go, and I honestly think it's going to be a different run defense that people have seen as of recently.
I do like the fact that everyone America's favorite GM is finally picking some older players, some experienced players.
Well, this is what he did prior to that Super Bowl run. He picked up a bunch of he picked up a bunch of these guys that were like a year or two away from retirement, last contract, and rode these guys. So this is what Dominican Sue. I never would have thought Sue would be a Philadelphia Eagle.
He's a big boy too.
He is a big boy.
He's a big boy.
Joseph's a good player. But yeah, they're old, but they're big bodies. So I see Jonathan Taylor getting smothered. He's going to get smothered this week. Everyone's like, but he had 22 rushes for 147 yards and a touchdown last week. Monahan, what are you talking about? Stop. I'm telling you. You're going to start him most likely because it's Jonathan Taylor, and you've been starting him all year. But I tell you, it's not this week.
Were they playing? They're playing away, aren't they? They're playing in Indy, right?
No, they're playing in Indy.
No elements. He's gonna get eaten up alive. Especially,
We'll see.
I mean, it's gonna be a good game, but I'm gonna say with these two new bodies and Fletcher Cox, it's going to be a rough game.
I think they're gonna make Matt Ryan beat him. That's what it's gonna come down to. And we have two lockdown corners. Try it.
Really, Matt?
Try it.
You think you're going to beat us, Matt?
Let's go to bet of the week.
Bet of the week.
Who's your bet of the week? Boom.
Because I don't know. I always like seeing spreads of over 7. It's always been something where I've always been attracted towards it, so I went with this one. But Buffalo is given 8 points to Cleveland. I'm still saying Buffalo is going to destroy Cleveland. They're a little angry, they're a little hungry, and they're playing in a dome. They're not playing in 6 feet of snow. No Snow Bowl this year. So I'm going with Buffalo. I think because their past 2 losses were just a kick in the dick. They're going to come out and just destroy Cleveland.
I don't think this is going to be much of a game. I think Buffalo does kind of roll over on Cleveland. Being the game's in Detroit, there's no real home field advantage for either team. There's no elements involved. Stephon Diggs is just going to run free through that secondary. It's just going to Stephon Diggs. Right? It's going to be nuts. And then the game's going to get to the point where they're just going to have to pound it out, and it's going to be Singletary doing his thing.
Yeah, I mean, would you rather prefer ice hard turf or concrete AstroTurf?
Right. What's better?
What's better to have 300-pound men land on you with? Frozen ice or concrete? Discuss.
Anyway, I went with the Panthers. I couldn't believe this line. When I saw this line, I was like, there's no way.
I saw that too.
13. They're getting like 13 and a half points against the Ravens. I understand the Ravens are going to beat them. And the over-under was 41 and a half. I'm sorry. The way I'm looking at this is Baker Mayfield's last stand. If he cannot put this shit together this game, it's over for Baker Mayfield. So he's going to have to do it. I think he sat back over the last couple of weeks, watched P.J. Walker run this offense, and he's like, okay, I can make my position players do the work. I don't have to make the plays. I don't have to wait for the long pass, or wait for my wide receiver to get open all the way downfield. I can check down. It's okay. It's okay, Baker, to check down. It's okay to just look at the receiver that's open instead of waiting for the other guy to get open for the big play. You don't have to make a splash play every time, Baker. No, just check down, buddy.
10 yards.
Just check down.
10 yards.
Check. Boop, 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 boop. Check
just
down.
Give it a check.
Check down.
Check, Peru. 10 yards.
So
you got to go.
I think the Panthers keep this relatively kind of close. I definitely feel the over-under, definitely they're going over it. They're going to. So I'm taking the Panthers with the over of 41 and a half.
I like that.
Hopefully
Baker does something besides shitty insurance commercials, because I like him.
Well, if you've watched it all the way, guys, listen, hit that like and subscribe button. I actually failed to actually mention that. Hopefully you guys done that. We're on Rumble now. Getting a lot of views on Rumble. I'm surprised we got some followers on Rumble. Hey, thank you for the followers on Rumble. Appreciate it. If you guys hit that like and subscribe button, continue this motion. We're rolling. And tomorrow we have Shot Collar Roulette.
Yes, right. Yes, we do. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And I'm going to try to figure out this Rumble thing by then. And possibly Discord. I still got to work out, all that stuff. That'll be tomorrow when I'm ripping my hair out, trying to get everything right, and everything crashes, and I go, oh my God! But the new shot collars have arrived. Brand new shot collars, so there's no flip-ups like last time. And they're charged and ready to go. Monahan's going to be asking the questions, trivial questions. And because he's now seeking revenge against me and the bald bastard, we're going to die. But it's okay. I have a echocardio machine here to make sure I don't have a heart attack.
Oh boy. Anyway, so if you guys don't know where our socials are, they're down in the link below. Just give it a little click, link tree, and it'll have all of our socials, the Facebooks, the YouTube channels, and all that fun stuff, the Discord. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below. Let us know, and we're going to see you tomorrow.
Peace.
Thank you.